Our casters as well, Mitch and Matt will walk us through this one. Really almost split down the middle there for the chat. How about you guys?
I was shocked by the chat going with the justice there. I think New York wins this, and I think they have to realize like how important this is for the standings, because you win this, you play the Gladiators again, and then they have a match against the Titans. The Titans have to play the Defiant and the Shock, who are like right in that like middle of the pack as well. So this is a prime opportunity for New York to basically beat the Justice and then have one more game to like finish like at the top of the middle of the pack, which is crazy to think about.
God, it just reminds me just how important this weekend's matches are in terms of determining our standings into that sort of postseason. Donghung, no, he's on land, right? I mean,
he's on land. Well, no, I mean he's closer. I mean, he's still on ping, but
he probably is using the same land switch as the rest of.
Not the middle of the night.
Yes.
He's got a jersey. He's got a player cam.
Hey, I'm just saying, he got that welcome pack. You know what I mean? From the Justice, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Again, I think like we definitely had a lot of questions about how Donghung would function here in this lineup. Seen a lot of brig from him, and yeah, a little bit disjointed at times, which you can definitely attribute to the fact that he was playing on ping. That's also what necessitated Ben Best to be substituted in to play Ana. And we had a whole bunch of conversation around that, and Get Amaze sort of publicly said, well, look, we kind of had to do this, and we have tried Ben Best in this position before, so okay, fair enough. But we've got two teams trending in opposite directions. This is an opportunity for a reversal for either squad.
It's also part of the Kellen revenge arc a little bit, right? Last year, obviously, coming into the league, right, everybody's expectations was like, oh, Kellen's going to be like pretty good, right? Like pretty strong.
The guy was ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
The impact that Kellen had in contenders and had the titles to prove it. He was very, very good there.
And then, it ends up on the New York squad with Flora Yaki as the DPS combo, and everyone's like, oh, what is this? Like, this does not look good at all, right? And like, you're like, oh, wait, they're keeping Kellen around? Like, and then he's looked fantastic this season. He's had DPS, I feel like, could combine with him a little bit better. And let's talk about some of these comps. So Reinhardt for both sides. It'll be Bastion for Alpha Yi with the Sim in the mix. You're going to have a Mei here for New York.
Mei will the most important ability on the field because of this. Immortality Field a close second. The Bastion really hits hard in tank mode, but after that expires, well, barely filling the role as a DPS at times there. So the Justice force back. They can't make a, dare I say, alpha strike with Alpha Yi on that Bastion happen, but they're going to come back for another bite at the apple, the big apple, as it were.
Yes, you can kind of use the Mei wall as like another kind of way to section off that Bastion, right? As this is what you're worried about the most. Is that a lot of damage. You're not going to be able to dodge that.
Oh my, nauseating amounts of damage for Alpha Yi. This time, no wall, no Immortality Field can save you from that. Northern Justice cut a bloody swathe through New York.
Yeah, really fast Amp Matrix there from Teru, who's one of our more aggressive supports. You remember back when playing the Kiriko, just going to the back lines. Making,
I really like Goon Squad Kiriko player. Like wants to go in with the Sombra. Yeah.
Yep. And now you see him on the Baptiste gets a really early Amp Matrix, and you got that Bastion shooting through the Amp Matrix. I mean, the damage, you just can't replicate it.
Now the Justice have a wall of their very own. Not much the Excelsior can really do except try and fold away from this, and it's hard for Creative to get value out of this Amp Matrix outside of just healing his teammates. Mei wall thrown up here. Kellen getting grouped around, really just trying to protect the team. A fire strike there. Shadow came down from Ben Best. There was a sim wall in the way. Kellen, though, what a connection. Alpha Yi's in trouble. Still able to get away. Slinks into the background as the Blizzard came down. Flora's able to find Creative as many of the Justice players are forced out of the action, but Alpha Yi can't really come back. He's
here we go. Here we go, bro.
Calling the artillery,
AC-130. Oh, he almost got Shockwave. Shockwave is really low.
He's decently used there. Yeah. Go for the sound barrier. Do the New York Excelsior. They want to stay in control of the point with a later beat from the Justice. And this is a scary prospect to face down for New York. Mei will throw it up here in nice deployment there of the Immortality Field by Teru. And the later sound barrier prevails.
Yes, I know the artillery doesn't result in kills, but gets a few players weak. It's the sound barrier in response, and then the Justice come in with a little bit of a later one and use theirs. This is going to be difficult for New York. You're going to be walking into that Amp Matrix Big damage here that comes down from Alfie.
It's like the last scene of The Last Samurai, virtually. You know, like Tom Cruise is and co is New York.
Look at the Bastion up on the high ground.
Yeah, the Bastion is the advanced technology of the Japanese Imperial Army.
Yup.
Just you can't deal with it. Okay, here comes Alfie. Brrr, he goes. It's going to be a sim wall in play. Teru's able to finish the job on Shockwave. Alfie alights from his perch, and already the Excelsior have gotten the heck out of there.
And that Maywall there from Psycho, like, it didn't cover the whole amp matrix, so it actually just kind of protected, like, Alfie's whole right side, and he was able to just shoot the players on the point.
95% counting here. OG slips in the Mac. Gets the touch, but he's felled. Still will be able to rotate. Oh my, this is indeed Sparta. benbest drops the hammer. The round punctuated by the sound of bodies hitting the floor. It's Washington with a good start here on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, really dominant stuff there from the Justice. As Alpha He on the Bastion making some huge plays. They're getting them all around the map there with the Sim TP. So we'll see what they decide to do here as we move to the next point. Is some different things you can play. Is New York still kind of hovering that same composition? I'm interested in what we see from the Justice. Don't think this is it. Not a ton.
benbest ball fabled.
The ball with the Pharah with no mercy with Lucio Ana would be
spoken of in hushed whispers in the quiet corners of the Abbey. Okay, we're going for it, baby.
All right, well, we got the mercy,
ball.
so all right, well, the wrecking ball in the mix. This will be interesting.
All right, Ben on the point, getting a little bit chilly.
All right, well, there it goes.
An inauspicious exit. Just when we thought last round was the last ride for the Shogunate, New York stick with that same comp and the Sim
Ball
in the May.
Ball, I feel like, is in a little bit of a rough spot, but you're just going for like constant disruption, right? You know, with the Pharah in the mix, just trying to put down some, finish off kills with the ball, right? And just being able to stay on the point, just be annoying, constantly contest. It's just with that
so hostile. It's so hostile to the wrecking ball, right? Alfie on Pharah. Never count this man out. Kellen charges to the point, doesn't want to be caught out of the action with Pharah. Raining rocket sound.
Yeah, like benbest isn't trying to like get like massive kills or anything, right? He's just trying to be a nuisance, like roll onto the point, slam down, do some damage, let others follow it up. Nice actually Sim TP to get players out of the point.
I like this position from Kellen, really playing thin margins. Shield barely alive, almost knocked down the immortality.
Just look how he's
sound barrier.
All these players get knocked around all over the place, right? With the Pharah and whatnot, they have to use sound barrier here to get back to the point.
What a stick from Flora. Creative's down now in New York. Able to get the point back, start to get some of that percentage going. The Sim wall's in the way. Alfie ends up being his own worst enemy there. Kellen though hit with a Vita grenade. benbest tries to commit for the kill, but can't finish the job. Kellen charges back to his team.
And as well, Flora's still here, so like they're gonna be, and the rockets are kind of coming in through range out of the window, and benbest as well. But looks like they're gonna back out. We're gonna get an ambush from the side. Creative just guns Alfie down from range. I mean, this has been all over the place here.
All right, benbest back to the point. Here come the mines. Now, no way Creative was getting out of that one. Landed on one of those, and not quite the whoopee cushion he was hoping for. The Bronx cheer, if we're going to stay in New York theme. Yeah, benbest traded out, though. OG able to find that elimination. It's going to be New York in charge of the point, though. Ice block had to be used there by Psycho, but they're fairly stable here.
It's Alfie on the point, but he's getting hit by the Sim turrets. I mean, Kellen's shield should take a beating throughout this one.
Yes, but he's getting value from it. He's using that shield as a resource very effectively. Alfie is looking dangerous, taking a fair bit of damage back, but he's being pocketed perpetually by Donghun.
He's also got the nano boost as well for a period of time.
Yeah, that helped him play that bit more aggressively. Here's a sound bear from New York. None available to the Justice here. It's enough for Creative to stay alive. Picking up benbest once more. The wrecking ball plan maybe not playing out the way Justice would have liked it to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This one's been a little bit. The Justice looks so good on that first point. I don't think you could run that same comp back, right? But
I mean,
I wouldn't have said
the wrecking ball. Benbest of the wrecking ball, Matt. It feels like you using multi-syllabic words. Like there's such a discordantness about it.
Right, because it doesn't make much sense. Because I'm so good with the easy stuff like the Reinhardt. Why even bust it out? Less. Right, why even bust it out? It's
oh my God! What was that? What was the triple pulse? Are you kidding me? Able to make it 4 kills as Creative goes down while we natter on. This player just put his feet on the back.
I love that whole sequence of events. Triple pulse bomb kill from Flora, and then I don't know if you saw it. He obviously kills the other two, but then Ben Best rolling out dies to a sim turret on the ball. I just love that entire sequence of events. What in the world was that?
Oh my gosh. AlphaU.
Is it good enough for a dub though?
Comes up. AlphaU can wrap around on this. He knows the Simul's here now, so won't play into it with the barrage. Ben Best is dead at first. Oh! Creative. Picks off AlphaU in the window. Dongan couldn't be there, I guess. Still will res the fire. They need this barrage to be effective. Kellen making it impossible for Terra to heal his team, though, so it's really on Dongan. He can't keep Flora standing. Great zoning of the Ana away, and that barrage was anything but impactful. Gonna be New York here now, looking to end the round as Ben Best is actually the last alive, which is not in keeping with tradition as far as this round is concerned. But the weird comp doesn't pay off. It feels like an homage to the Shanghai Dragons playing triple DPS ball at the end of that GOATS era.
Right, but now
might have the same effectiveness.
Right, so you know, a little bit of a throwback here, but now you can move away from it as Reinhardt becomes pretty effective here, where I think you can run
a nice way of saying don't do it again.
It's very, very, very nice. Look, you got an awesome round win playing the Reinhardt. That's what Ben Best is like awesome at. And just go back to it. All right, like we gotta see what in the world happens here.
To the TP. Oh, just the very edges of it.
Oh, that is awesome. Dude, he kills everybody.
A triple.
He kills everybody.
The last time we saw a triple pulse bomb that didn't involve like, I don't know, a Reinhardt. Well, it didn't involve, I guess, like a graviton.
Oh, we're doing this again.
Throw it, running it back, baby. Hey, you're not losing if you're learning, Matt.
Dude, I don't get it, because like they looked like Ben Best is really good on Ryan. They looked really good on Ryan there at the start. Maybe you can't play the Bastion, right? But like you can come up with another hero that can combo with. This is a nice TP. Yeah, they're gonna get Teru. Where
is this like subbing out knife levels of insanity?
No, I don't think so, because like you know they're actually like doing some nice things with this comp like at times, right? It's just, you know, maybe not as easy to execute as the Reinhardt, and just seeing them actually execute the Reinhardt comp really well and winning that first round makes you just question why they'd risk it and kind of do something all over the place. But they get the point first, and now New York's going to make some changes. So Shockwave's actually going to go and play the Sombra, maybe try and take advantage of the ball a little bit.
Is this comp just to avoid having your agency taken away by the disruption Wrecking Ball provides? Like the switch to Winston, Kiriko?
Yeah, I think so, and also like hacking the ball becomes like a pretty easy target to take out. See now as Ben Best gets a little bit weak there in the back, but you don't have that shield that the Reinhardt was providing, right? So now Alfie becomes way more impactful.
Well, 6 years on, and Barrage is still press Q to respawn. All right, Ben Best though doubles down. Cypher gets flattened. Ben Best getting healed by Teru, who's playing for the other side of the. Whoa! What a shot! Oh my god! What am I watching? Ben Best gets creative, but Teru sets it up.
But are they going to be able to hold? Kellen's back. You have other players back here for New York. I don't think they're in a spot to make a play.
You'll hold.
Yeah, you'll hold. This is actually, I mean, the Justice are already above 50%. I mean, this is actually looking quite good. Valk and Nano here coming up.
Donghak looking on with Artajet. He is seething with jealousy. The Justice get to play this comp right now. Can't be too jealous at the top of the league, but still. Alpha not being looked at right now. This is dangerous. Yep, the Farah is charged up, ready to rumble. That blue glow signifies death if you're New York. And Alpha deals him another mortal blow. Ben Best with the mind kill as well is crucial. All of the Justice players getting an involvement there. We're at 82% and counting, Matt.
Yeah, and this is a comp that's going to be very difficult to EMP, right? Because there's so much mobility. Like, well, I guess you'll go after like Teru, but you see where Teru's been playing. He's been playing so far off on like an island. Like, you're not really going to get tons of value there. They're going to have to get a touch.
Here they come, touch indeed. Shockwave has the EMP available. I feel like we haven't talked about him at all really this round. There's too much going on now. Figgy caught in the EMP, but able to get out the window and away. Teru though careens over the edge. OG able to get the environmental kill, and Shockwave can avoid that happening to him with the translocate away. New York looks like the Ducks line up for them this time, and they stay alive in this last round.
All right, so how good is this comp at taking the point back? Okay, so now they're going to switch off of it. I actually, like this decision. I think like pushing in with that comp would have been really difficult to do.
Eventually, the Justice forced them the knee to the prevalent composition. False bomb for Flora. Oh, man. Shockwave. That health pack goes a long way for Shockwave there, but has to get Suzu'd. Doesn't have a translocator set right now. A little bit scary. Probably setting one as we speak at the back of the point. Flora Pulse, no connect here, but OG getting hurt pretty badly.
And he's getting close to beat. It's got to be a better beat than the last one. Wasn't the best, but they find Teru, so you may not even need to use it. So that's 2 fights in a row they're able to find Teru. He's been playing a little bit off on his own for some of these comps.
It's tough for the Justice to retake this point because both those Megas are, I think, currently hacked by Shockwave.
Right, yeah.
A little bit difficult for Flora to be nearly as aggressive as he'd like to be, I think, as a result of that.
Yeah, and look at where Teru's playing in comparison to, Donghoon, like very far away, like not able to really kind of protect each other in an easy manner. So that's going to be the sound barrier. This time it's good because it's aggressive.
I love the positioning from Teru, but it may not be enough to keep it alive here. Everyone's coming for him. He gives up the matter, at least the Donghoon, and here he goes.
Are they going to touch?
Yep,
they know
the Justice flipped it. Psycho's able to touch just in time, Matt, but it was just Psycho. He was so low on health. Who will stand up now? There is no one left for New York. Okay, EMP comes in here for Shockwave. It's impressive looking, but the result, it's not there. The Washington Justice, they go with the ball, the Mercy, the Farah, and they get most of the work done on that last round. It's a quick switch and completion as the Justice convert to an early map lead.
Yeah, and that time when New York got aggressive with that sound barrier, they tried to dive onto Teru. He did a fantastic job. I believe it was a nano onto the brig there, the biotic grenade, and then the point flips on the opposite side. So now New York is like stuck in this like weird situation where you're in a room with the brig and the rest of the team. You can't stay in there. You got to work your way back to the point, and everybody just kind of dies in the middle of the map.
Flora ends the round, the map rather, 18 final blows and 4 deaths. It wasn't just the triple pulse bomb kill, a flash in the pan. No, consistent excellence delivered by Flora, who often plays second fiddle to people, DPS players he's alongside of, Alpha Yi in this case, but no, Flora, what a stunning performance on that map to help the Justice to an early win.
This is a chaotic map number 1. There was a lot here in map number 1. Ben Best, I thought, was really strong in the Reinhardt here on our first point. The second point, like the ball Farah, like you can kind of see the idea, but it just like really wasn't working. Like the only time that you were able to kind of make any sort of impact is right here in this scenario where Flora is able to kind of like get.
Oh, the ball!
It was and it pops right around the corner. Yeah, it knocks right on the edge there. But the only time you got something going there was when you got like a Flora 5K.
Yes, but they were losing that fight. Ben Best was 1 HP.
And then the ball actually looked pretty decent the last point.
I'm just saying, Ben Best, okay. That Wrecking Ball was quite a sight to behold, and it's a big part of what gives the Justice that win on Lijiang Tower. Already, stage is set for an incredibly fun, explosive, exciting series, so don't go anywhere. This is some serious Overwatch coming your way. It's Midtown up next. extremely spicy compositions coming out from the team on your screen right here. It's the Washington Justice with a pretty clutch first map win. Kind of subverting some of the expectations set at the top of the show and at the top of this game, at least. A lot of people really thinking New York will go from strength to strength, but having Donghun in person and this player on your screen really popping off makes a world of difference. Flora, what a showing in map number 1.
Oh, I mean, a sick map number 1 from Flora. We've seen some really nice Tracer play today, but we saw there the pulse bomb attach rate is 60%, a little bit higher from Flora here in map number 1. Also had a really nice bash, right? When we were actually, no, it was Alfie on the bash, but really just nice play overall from Flora. And we'll see now how he combos with Mirror, because Mirror coming into the game here in the tank role.
Absolutely. So we did see, of course, the Justice switch to Winston, have Ben best on the Winston, look totally fine there. But generally, if it's Rush or if it's, Ramatra based rather, or if it's Winston, it's going to be Mirror. And Mirror is the player that much of our experts spent time discussing and asking whether he would be able to stand toe-to-toe against a revitalized Kellen in a dive Mirror if we get that on Midtown. Yeah,
also wanted to point out we have Fitz coming in here for New York as well. So Fitz will come in, I believe it was for Shockwave. So combo with Psycho here for map number 2 at least. Yeah, some changes in terms of rosters here now for teams going into the second map. And man, map number 1 was just all over the place. I mean, that was just chaos. Who knows what we're going to see the rest of the series.
No, I mean, maybe, with the substitutions we've seen, we get something a little bit more standard, right? I would be, Mira, don't.
There's no.
No. Okay, get back in the hole. Go when you're home. Thank you. Don't do that.
Dude, the ball on defense on Midtown. Get on Winston. All right.
There we go. Thank you.
Ball on defense on Midtown is like one of those where if you go into ranked and your tanks place ball defense Midtown, that's just like, maybe the use of an avoid slot and a go again. That's like there's just no.
That is just the nicest way I can imagine that being put.
Yeah, that's a start bumping your music, leave team chat, whatever happens when the game happens, and just let's plan on having happier days. Oh, interesting that they used the Suzu there at the start. Maybe they thought that the bio grenade was coming over the top. You've seen a bunch of teams do that.
Yep, counterplay upon counterplay. It's a very marginal advantage or disadvantage offered by that, but still something you want to try and play around. So we have the dive Mirror, as we expected to see. Fitz on the Sombra, really effective Sombra play. And Psycho's just blown our minds, I think, on that Tracer play so far. Really come into his own as a threat in the league. Alfie dealing with threats on multiple axes here. Fitz out of that fire station, and I think the health pack might already be hacked, which could be an issue later down the track. So keep an eye.
Who actually owns that health pack in there? Actually, for a second, at least it looked by the skull, it actually looked like potentially Fitz, but I was like, there's got to be no way that can happen.
I figure that's why Fitz went in there. Terror though, here with the bio, in deep trouble, able to slink away, but not for long. Psycho chases him down, pastes the blood. We'll go to follow it up here, and great pressure on Alfie Flora. The flankers of the Justice are not in a position to contest right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're going to be able to get another contest here if you're the Justice, right? Mirror at about half HP. It would be very difficult. I mean, you just run in here, you're going to get mowed down. So that'll be New York taking checkpoint A really fast. Now setting themselves up for a pretty good opportunity to complete. I mean, 5 minutes here to get through the streets phase and then just the final part of the map. You have a lot of time.
That, though. I feel like that's rare to see, that there's not an opportunity for like a recontest for the defending team. Things just did not fall in the Justice's favor there. Oh,
he attacked like mid-air.
Too long. Yeah. Nothing you could do there. By the time he jumped away, he was about 100 HP. Anticipating the burst damage is such an important part of the ins and outs of this dive composition, both the Sombras, Tracers, and the Winston.
And nobody said to use any ultimates on either side this far. So New York, Psycho maybe play up here, going to control this bridge area as the payload starts to move underneath the bridge. And he's trying to set up for an EMP up the high ground if you're Fitz. Look at where Creative's playing from. He's just hiding. Nowhere even close to being hit.
Later EMP from Flora over the top. Neither team able to convert their EMPs into distinct advantages, though. It's going to be a mana boost given over to Kellen as Teru is about to have his own available. New York, though, bit of a blunt assault there. Hack on Mirror to the low ground, but he'll be...
Payload's still moving.
Yep, Psycho.
Oh, nice out there.
Psycho's still moving that card. Still going. They're going to get hit with the nano here. Are they aware of where the card is right now? Yeah, it just got pinged out.
Yeah, it was a nice
They're low.
OG when Mirror goes up in the sky to actually kind of make a play with the nano. He actually just gets knocked off course. So the card also, like you mentioned, Psycho's just moving this like almost all the way to the end.
Slippery Psycho, man. You take eyes off for one moment and he's in there pushing that card uphill. Like a much more attractive version of Sisyphus, I imagine. All right, Kellen, hacked here. A little dangerous now for the Winston. I want to play back around that corner, but this gives them time for the Justice to work from behind that little barrier. Psycho again wants to inch it forward, but it's going to be creative, felled by a pulse bomb. Alpha really able to break this fight with that one ultimate.
Yeah, as soon as creative drops, as soon as he got stuck, you just saw everybody start to hightail it there for New York, as they knew that was over. But I feel like a little bit of a mission complete there for New York, in the sense that you are very close to completing checkpoint B, and it's been about like a minute 45, almost like 2 minutes, and you still have almost 3 minutes on the clock, so which is like a ton of time in terms of Overwatch, right? I mean, you're gonna have an EMP and a nano for this next fight. You're in a spot where maybe you do it here.
Donglin hit with a oh, that's not good. Ah, it slide down the awning. Okay, find a grenade there. Donglin ate that one up, and Psycho pounced. Raw Austrian muscle. Arnie would be proud. EMP on 3 players of New York, but the Justice, can't do much about it really. There's not in a position to push onto that high ground to get in there. EMP now coming in, but Mirror's found creative here. Fitz was hoping to find something with an EMP of his own, but neither team are converting on their Summer ultimates at all, Matt. That's a glaring issue we've noticed.
Yes, Mirror finds 2 with the benefits of the nano there, so creative ends up holding on to his. Don't have really a great target. The payload to move back a little bit, so now Justice starting to put together a much better defensive fight. If you're able to survive like this next one that comes on through, where they probably have the nano, maybe get close to a rally if it brawls out on the cart for a bit, and pulse bomb, you're actually in a good spot to get a hold here if you're the Justice.
1 minute 47 seconds. EMP's expended. Fitz gets rid of that translocator there. But Flora doesn't seem to be too perturbed for now. No one's really paying too much attention. Okay, throws translocator. That is pretty clear what he's done there. They're not really looking at him. Translocator down, but Flora not being picked off as a result of that being removed. So we'll see how this plays out here. New York, so very low, taking a ton of damage on the fringes of this fight, and Alpha he's able to finish the job just as Mirror deals with Psycho. And another hold here for the Justice.
Really nice from the Justice supports there. Flora as well was able to just obviously stay alive with their health. Just be a nuisance there on the killing is oh,
the cow!
Whoa!
Sorry. That was close for Flora. Almost lost out in the duel.
So this goes from 5 minutes plus that they had here to now we're under a minute. You're gonna get EMP back here, but you ended up just burning your primal and your nano there, which is huge.
EMP now, and there it is. Good conversion. Maybe one of the first times this map we've seen a team be able to follow up in an EMP, or at least be in a position to do so. Alpha you slept. This is dangerous. Having to recall out though. No position, I guess, to capitalize in a concerted manner on the Slap Tracer. Alpha you gets away scot-free.
Yes, I actually like that decision. EMP early, guarantee yourselves a fight win, and then also going to knock like 15, 20 seconds off the clock, right? So will be a rally here up top.
Okay, got both supports here, but Alpha's pulse. Fitz can't do it all, or any of it, apparently. He will fall now with 8 seconds left in the round.
And right as that EMP is going off, the nano boost goes from Terrio onto Mirror, and he actually goes in there with Alpha. The pulse bomb's good, but it's Mirror putting down some extra damage, just finishing some of those players off.
Yeah, a touch there briefly. That will be it for New York. A pretty underwhelming offense here. Both teams having issues when it comes to playing around destroyed translocators, or like discovered translocators, and getting enough to the EMP. So pretty chaotic brand of dive comps here from both sides.
Dude, it's kind of crazy that like, New York had a really good first checkpoint, right? They finished with like 5 minutes, and Justice just bounced back, just dominate from there. Where everybody coming into this series thought that New York would be the team to win it, and a lot of people picking like pretty clean fashion, right? 3-1, 3-0, like Justice on a little bit of a slide, but man, the Justice have looked good this far.
Yeah, I mean, it got very close on that second checkpoint multiple times. A little was over when Donghun got caught on the high ground by a Bionade in the dive follow-up there. You got to hand to the Justice. Their protocols for playing short-handed are really solid. I think, oddly enough, both these teams are better when they're forced to play defensively rather than proactively to like create attacking opportunities. The Justice will have to make good on their good defense here with a staunch assault.
What's your thoughts on the Ashe here on defense instead of the Sombra?
Very exploitable, but a little bit hard to dive Ashe at times here. Like if Fitz just takes that high ground position, you have a lot of warning. You know, he probably ends up playing around the fire engine. So there's a lot of opportunities to intercept the Justice as they try and dive there. I imagine that, you know, someone like OG needs to play pretty tight with Fitz.
Yeah, I think you can like kind of play the Ashe around the supports, but I feel like it's a, you know, I don't want to say it's an easy dive target, right? But it's just another dive target where you know, I thought Fitz, like, you would come in, play the Sombra, right? He's played pretty well on the Sombra, so come in, play the Ashe here, pretty risky.
It's a harder dive target than a Cassidy, but an easy one than a Soldier, if that makes sense in terms of that mobility. Here it comes though. Fitz is hacked. Okay. What? Just headshot 4 on the way in. That's, I mean, that's a skill issue, I'm afraid.
So, they keep him alive, but did you see how much they needed to keep him alive?
Yes.
I mean, there was like a Winston bubble, a biotic grenade, 2 like armor packs. Like if you don't get that kill straight away, and there's other people in there, what is this? We got lineups?
That's for the high ground on the other side of the train cart, I think. If it's for the fire truck, I'll eat my hat. No, okay, for the train car.
It was for the top of the subway.
Yeah. But Fitz isn't playing from there. I mean, Fitz plays from Kellen's position. He doesn't have line of sight. It's a terrible spot to play from, I think. Unless you, like, want good dynamites, but terrible, like, line of sight for your gun. I don't know.
I actually think it hit the top of the subway car, but I don't even think the splash over would have hit the players on the top. Yeah.
No, he messed it up. But again, it's, like, not at the start of the round, so he has to kind of do it on the fly. So I get it. Oh, okay, that's a good. Coach Gun doesn't connect, but Whipshot was there, I think, to knock Vera back, at least a shield bash. So, layers upon layers of defense here for Fitz would put Shrek to shame right now. Ooh. 1 for 1. Winston's out of the picture. Pole's stuck, but on the wrong side of the shield. Creative elbow. Oh, get away alive. Fitz found Mira, but Teru comes straight on in, trades it out here. Raw aggression for the Justice, and they do break through.
Yes, Alpha gets the benefits of the nano boots, and he's able to just start putting down some serious damage. I mean, Tracer already really difficult to take out, right? And then the benefits of the nano, but is the New York going to contest this? It looks like Kellen going to move up, so maybe they decide to play close here. Is you'll have Bob to work with here for New York. He probably just gets slept, but this is where it stinks, I think, Mitch. Like, I think the Ashe you can make work, but you know, now, like, let's say you lose this fight, like, what are you gonna do? Like, switch Sombra and then just not have, you know,
not have the MP.
You're kind of like all in on the Ashe, right?
Yeah, let's see if the Excelsior agree with that take. Bob, if used properly here, can be pretty nasty. Okay. Fitz really trying to tackle this problem from the front. Nice little techers here, nice little jump. There you go, now you know. Hit with the EMP, immediately nano. Just keep Fitz alive is the plan. Okay, so Mira has the primal there, got stuck with the pulse bomb. Bob coming in, big, bad, and bustling. Ready to cause problems in the backline of the Justice and buy a huge amount of time for New York and give Fitz a ton of space.
Yeah, so just wait a little bit. It looks like actually Teru took so much damage that he wasn't able to get around the corner to sleep the Bob. Like, he was really low. It's, oh, we got to sleep here on the floor. Yeah, nice play there by Creative.
Psycho able to finish that one off. That wins a position, kind of busted, playing up on that raft there, but both Kellen and Mira exchange pleasantries away from the locus of the fighting. Creative's been pretty untouched here, as he's not the primary dive target under nominal conditions. He sits behind Fitz. Fitz could fall back to his position, get bio.
Kellen's making it really difficult for the supports here, of like playing that high ground. Oh, but this time they actually find it. Yeah, that's a nano boost on the mirror, so some damage there from floor as well. But they do get Fitz.
It could have been a Bionade follow-up there. It happened very quickly, hard to say. But this is an issue for New York now. They don't really have the Fitz to play around. Kato moving very slowly as the Justice still assembling themselves. Psycho just trying to, you know, contest as much as humanly possible, forced to back away there. But high ground is still being held somewhat by New York.
So Creative gets hacked. OG just trying to close the distance there, back up a little bit, because yeah, you have like 2 or 3, you know, hack dive targets there for New York, they're all kind of split, right? So as soon as somebody gets hacked, everybody else starts to turn, like, make a move right away. You could kind of, like, almost fake it, right? Like, hack somebody and then kind of, like, have Mirage die from the opposite side.
All right, there it is. Fitz hacked. Pulse. No good. Wrong side of the shield once more. It's going to be Psycho, though. Does him one better. Alpha Yi utterly outdone when it comes to the Tracer impact here, and the Washington Justice going to be sent packing again.
Yep, but they do get Rally out. So, you know, Rally for Rally. Oh, he's shot there.
That's a nice kill.
Rally for Rally, but you have an EMP here for Justice. And with where the payload is, like, you know, EMP, a few kills trickle off the back of that, you're kind of good for a map win here. So it just needs to be a really good high-value EMP, because you're also going to have Primal, too.
1 minute and 30 left in the round. Fitz is back in position now, well protected by phalanx of New York soldiers. Justice really pretty adamant about reassuming this high ground. The cart's on the move through the underpass once more. Fitz, there's just not enough time for the buy to come in there.
That's not even defensive.
Yeah, now the EMP comes in and Creative finds himself in a pretty compromising spot, but gets himself out and hop, skip, and jump away. But he was waiting for him, but Alpha Yi. The Justice are here to finish the job now. It looks like they've paved the way. Yeah, painting this Midtown red in more ways than one of the Justice. No, knocked away. What a whip shot, or maybe shield bash and don't intercept. And it will be the Justice with their second map win in a row in this series. And what a showing, I think, towards the end. It's all about the dive on Fitz. He's hard to kill, but eventually they exploit that lack of mobility that Ash has.
Man, as the Justice have looked better today than they've looked in recent memory, as New York's the team that we kind of like we're looking at like their team like ascending, right? Like starting to play some of the best Overwatch that we've seen them play all season long. But the Justice come in here with a pretty strong start to take a 2-0 lead.
This is a new level for Washington, I think, or maybe reassuming an old level that we may have seen from them at the start of this season. These are great looks from them. We've seen a couple different comps, right? We've seen the Ben Best look, the Wrecking Ball, obviously the Reinhardt now, the dive composition. You know, Flores has a great round there. Mirror's being set up really effectively. Having Donghun with the rest of the team definitely seems to have had a positive impact as well, as you might expect here. And the Justice, like, they figure out, I guess, the alternate plan, dealing with like an Ash composition, right? It's hard. You talked about just how much it takes for New York to keep her alive, but also it takes a lot for the Justice to break through all of that.
It's just like very feast or famine, right? Like I know that the Ash started to look good, but then like once you end up starting to build towards these like hacks, and you know, really not building towards hacks, but being able to kind of like capitalize on those hacks, like right here towards the end, that's not even the EMP. They just get the hack on the Fitz, and then the follow up is good. And the EMP here is just really what seals the deal.
Now, Flora there again. Got every reason to be happy with his performance so far in this series. Not only Lijiang Tao, but also Midtown now. Another notch in the belt for the Justice as they look to make it a clean sweep. Only Circuit Royale and the New York Excelsior stand in their way.
me see you drop. Get down in the car. One time, give it all. Bust it open hard. Let me see you drop. Hustle, baby, we hustle, but the
Oh my.
Competitive series, but at times this New York Excelsior team have their phases set to warp feed. Couple unlucky moments there on Midtown. Ends up letting that map slip again. Both teams defensively looked really solid. We saw an hatch composition for New York, and they spent so many resources, Matt, trying to protect Fitz. Eventually, though, we see the Justice figure out how to break in there, snap up the VIP, and clean up the rest of this squad.
Yes, the Justice get the job done again. It'll be Shockwave now coming in here, this time for Psycho. As we'll take a look at stats from Alpha Yi here. On Midtown to 0 deaths. That's pretty fantastic. The pulse bomb kills high. Is the Justice are rolling here today, Mitch. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, like this is super important in terms of the standings, right? You know, if you're the Justice, you win this, you get to what, 6 and 7? 6 and 7, right? You also give New York their 8th loss. So like the teams with 8 losses, like would be like you know, a team like the London Spitfire, Toronto Defiant. And then this also kind of like benefits the Gladiators in a way, right? Because you put a bunch of those teams with 8 losses. The Gladiators sit at 9. And Gladiators, I believe, have a game left against New York. So an opportunity for them to kind of like right their wrongs a little bit. Where a 3-0 for the Justice, I mean, that is massive also in terms of their map differential, right? Came in, I believe, at -5. So you get closer to even. You also get to 6 and 7. You're in territory like in the Shock Titans, you know, ballpark there, you know, for the Washington Justice, which would be huge.
Map differential is not always important, especially when you have like these big gaps in standings. But this middle of the pack, right, there's a lot to be decided in terms of which of those teams have the chance to advance in the postseason, and that's where map differential is going to matter. Keeping it clean behind the ears from here on out is of paramount importance for both these teams. Justice a chance to again get away here with a 3-0 would be quite something, a way to propel them in this very
yes, the famed wrecking ball circuit defense. Ah, boo.
At least Mira didn't come out of spawn on it this time. The Ramatra.
Yep.
So what do you think about Ramatra v Sigma if we get it?
The Sigma is like way more like poke oriented, where the Ramatra, they're gonna play close to that corner and they're gonna fight it out. The Sigma is way more, do some damage, poke, if you can, you know, get a kill, kind of like move up a little bit, but very, very passive, I would say. Like you would like definitely pull back more and play a little bit safer playing the Sigma, where you're way more open to fight.
Fitz's contribution to the musical community, perhaps not going to receive accolades there. So the Zenyatta is interesting here against this Ramatra comp, Matt.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're fine running the Zen because you want to like play a little bit more like poke oriented, right?
Seems strong. Against slow comps, that's why Violet used to bust it out, right?
Oh, look at this. So Alfie, he's sitting up on this side. Like, you're just trying to like collapse down with an interesting wall. Is the wall killing in there, but Fitz just rips Teru's head off.
What a kill. What a way to get started here. You couldn't have asked for a better target there. And that high ground position for the Justice looks really awkward. They happen to drop into the backline and brawl here, but there's an immortality field in play for New York, so they don't mind dealing with a random Brick and May in their backline. Not a good look for the Justice early.
Oh no, that's a brutal fight for the Justice. I mean, they get absolutely nothing done there, and Alfie going to switch from the May to Tracer straight away, and they're going to get a Kariko here too. So, big changes here for the Justice. As you don't really have, well, now you do. So when you had the May, there's no real like pressure on to Shockwave or like Fitz, right? I mean, but now that you have this mix, you do. But like, look at Mir taking these big headshots going on in real low.
Shockwave is hitting some huge shots on this Widow here. And in every sense, a poke composition now, but it can be shut down by dive looks here. The Justice keep the Ramatra, but they get flankers in place. So a lot of pressure on Shockwave and Fitz potentially now as Flora finds OG a chance to stabilize now for the Justice. Fitz might have something to say about that, but Flora's found yet another one, and Mira wants to surge ahead.
Yeah, the Kiriko can go into the backline with those flankers, right, and put down some extra damage and also be that healer at like close range on the flank with doing such a nice job using the TPs to kind of get their way around. I mean, so Kellen's got this flux here. Do you think though you can stay on this for like forever here if you're the New York Excelsior? Because like if you're not finding these Widow picks and constantly getting dove, like you're just gonna have like having Kellen just sit there at the front line like in big trouble. That's a huge pick off though, getting Teru.
I mean, Mira though, okay, caught inside as a Transcendence in play now. This is, yeah, bad. Look at that. I mean, again, the percent health damage against the Nano Ramatra is so huge. The Flux is like the antithesis to that setup, and we're getting over the line here. Yeah, yes, first checkpoint.
Even though some kills from the Justice flankers on the back line, still going to get it over the line. So now we're going to see some changes here. So what do we see?
Oh, okay, you want to dive this, but you
Shockwave's going to play Tracer, maybe?
You want the infra site for now. I wouldn't be surprised if Shockwave was in spawn, right? Switching off this is possible?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, dive comp plus Sojourn, which is within reasonable parameters. It's not crazy. Fitz forced away from the Vortex there, set up by Mira. Shockwave playing fairly out of line of sight here. Wants to force Mira away. Now the overclock. This is a concerning prospect for the Justice to face down as Fitz is plugging Mira shot after shot. No kills as a result of that, but Shockwave was able to at least provide some of those. Teru at long range, though, deals with Shockwave, short range rather. Fitz is going to be forced to fold away now from that annihilation as Mira just throws up his dukes here. Gets a kill on the exit. Fitz might find one, but the Justice should be okay.
Yeah, Fitz doing some serious damage at range there on the Mirror at the start of that fight. But Mirror able to kind of like stave it off, even with the Biotic Grenade in the mix. Gets the cleanse there from Dongun. So Kitsune Rush available here for the Justice. I think as soon as they start to see some players around this ramp, I think that's when you decide to use it.
Is it wild that I expected the Justice, or rather New York, to maybe try and play a Junker Queen, like to counter the Winston setup? Seen both these teams sort of trying to maneuver themselves into the best positions possible, but they opt into a Mirror here. Speaking of which, he's in trouble. Now, creative there, pops him, and here come New York once more. The Justice here struggling now with this dive comp they set up. Oh, nicely done, creative. Nicely done.
Yeah, as a pulse bomb there from Alfie goes for nothing. So, ooh, they'll actually take Flora out at the end here. I think if Flora could have like stayed alive there, maybe made it out, do you consider just fighting this here at the end? You got Nano, and you got, I think maybe you still do. You have the Nano boost here. You can definitely get a touch.
Mira needs it. He gets it. Shockwave's pulse. Yeah, Flora is in position to make use. Oh! That's just stunning from Shockwave. Man, he's ripping it up on the Tracer here. Teru's gone. The Justice's chances of holding are in jeopardy now. Translocate out by Flora. He popped that EMP, but there was no one to get in there and make it useful. Kellen's Primal now will pave the way. That second checkpoint comes up in the background, and New York with 3 minutes to play.
Yeah, I mean, even just seeing when the EMP came down, it didn't even look like it was like really impactful on anybody, even on the point. So curious how that one went down. But New York starting to come alive. So we reverse sweep the other day, so trying to make their way through another one here, just making it hard on themselves. As if you're the Justice, you got to think about taking an early fight. I mean, you have nothing to work with here. Just get some of these ultimates out, because if you allow them to round that corner with like the rally and the overclock, and you're still in this type of spot, you're in loads of trouble.
I feel like it's weird to see dive comp still being played at this point on Circa Royale. Again, Fitz, big difference here in that Sojourn. Teru is asking for it. I guess, okay, he had backups, almost baiting Fitz into that one. Oh, Fitz. Yeah, just pauses what he was doing on that peripheral edge of the battlefield to just send one in Mira's direction. Mira is struggling. Teru and Dongun were actually zoned away from being able to have line of sight to Mira.
Yes, I mean, just getting punished constantly here on Circa, but 2 minutes to go. It's not like a lot of time to complete this map, right? Like, this is such a devastating choke to try and get through.
Oh, I'd agree if New York didn't have such an edge of momentum right now. They're just trying to dig their heels in a big way. Shockwave's able to get in on the back line. Oh, that was scary. Flora definitely feeling that one whiz past his ear. Fitz charges in here. Gonna slide forward. Overclock was there, shut down. Now it's gonna be Flora dropping back in post-EMP, and now the Justice might have found a foothold. Fitz, Mira challenging him. Disruptor shot thrown down. Mira just ignores it. Kellen now the second casualty to Flora in this fight. He's had a great one.
Yes, some nice juggling here from Mirror. Creative was still alive there in the back as they deal with him. So this is where I think it gets to get really messy for New York. You're not playing Sombra, so you don't have like an EMP, and even if you did EMP like with the verticality there at the end of the map, it becomes very difficult to use. You don't have overclock, so like where is your big like opening kill kind of coming from? Like what are you using to break open this fight? Like is it displacement from Primal when you get it? Is it a pulse bomb that Shockwave can maybe like build up towards?
Okay.
Creative, oh man, he drops down at like the perfect time.
Yeah, no fire up for now though, so still dangerous. Alpha an extra blink to stay up on that high ground, gets him and found Creative. That's huge. Shockwave's in deep trouble. Having to get the health pack here, but Alpha is healthier and he chases him down. Then Tracer mechanics on full display. New York have to regroup for one last push.
Yeah, and Creative tries to get high ground there, but he's hacked, drops to the low ground. Alfie didn't feel like it was a great opportunity to go for him right away, but eventually finds him there with Mirror as well.
Without having to pulse bomb. Crucial. Save that now for a potential fight win here. 10 seconds and counting. Mirror and Kellen meet each other at the choke. Looks like, yeah, Creative's been revealed. He was hacked there. Alpha wants to get him. Can't do it. Forcing Fitz, though, to turn around. Creative is able to deal with Flores. That's one of the flankers down. Alpha has to go more aggressive here. Kellen gets woken up after being slapped. Shockwave found the pulse. Up sentry on Mirror. What a big one. Alpha able to trade it back, but Teru is gone over the edge here. Dongnan is able to find Shockwave, but that's going to be the last vestiges of the Justice defense starting to crumble now. Flora had to keep it alive, but an overclock will allow them to swat that fly.
All right, so you get it through in OT. It's that Primal Rage plus that Pulse Bomb. That's good enough to do it. So New York keep themselves kind of alive in this series, right? With how the Justice are playing, you know, a map completion's not out of the question, so needed to get that cart over the line here. What do you think we see the Justice play on offense?
I wouldn't be shocked at a Ramatra comp, at least to start with here, from the Justice. Play like Ramatra may. I think if they see anything that resembles like a Sigma composition with some poke, they maybe sort of back away from that one. Or, for an Alpha use, just Tracer Sombra. We're out on the Winston. You know, I think players definitely feel less comfortable at times sort of forcing Sigma against Winston because you can get caught just out of the play by Winston sailing over your head and pressuring a backline down. Often
the Genji
switch off that.
The Genji's like a real pick here as well.
Yep.
We've seen definitely people play Genji in the past and, you know, able to access some of that high ground. You know, if there's going to be like Poke and Zen on the other side, like if you know Zen Widowmaker and is going to be on the other side, right? Like Genji's like really strong against those heroes. So I don't think the Genji's out of the question. We'll see what Alfie decides to do.
It's fine. You could also go over the building tops as an attacker. You know, like you remember like the illegal May wall play?
So you want them to do something illegal here at the start?
No, I mean, I think playing Genji should be illegal in every state, but that's not up to me. But you can, as Genji, get over
somewhere.
Right?
Somewhere our man Hexagrams is cheering. He agrees. Yeah. Genji should be illegal in every state.
I'm not sure my views align with this. Is what I'm talking about, though. I'm not sure my views align with all of Hexes when it comes to hero balance, but this one, yeah, maybe. This is what I'm saying, though. It's another angle that's like a bit scary if you're like a Widow or a Zen.
Right, so
he's watching
Flora's screen. Yeah, he's watching Flora's screen here.
Okay. Tough to kill the Sigma. Kind of don't bother here to start with if you're the Justice.
Oh, did you see Shockwave actually had his Venom Mine? Oh, his creative action takes on Mirror. Shockwave had his Venom Mine up on the roof there to the left, knowing that like one of them would potentially come over. That like
Chicken PC?
Let's get a replay of that.
Chicken PC? Chicken PC? Okay.
It just felt like they charged so fast, but maybe it's weak, so it didn't need the full charge, yeah.
Very snappy stuff from Shockwave here. All right, so the Justice, the dive comping, they have a Kiriko here. I don't know what you really hope for them. Maybe join up with Alpha Yi, dive in there.
Yeah, it's to get in the mix and be able to kind of like heal a little bit more and do some more damage, right? Be able to, you know, get into the back line. You're not really too scared with, you know, somebody diving onto your Ana, right? Like when they're just playing Sigma comps, so you don't really need the break.
Oh no, you gotta get to the health pack!
Oh, I thought he was gonna kill Flora as well. I thought Creative was gonna get him as well.
How much does this matter, the Zen kill here, do you think?
I thought the Zen kick was going to kick him like away and he was going to be able to take him out, but Mirror's going to be able to take out Kellen needs the OG fall, so Justice starting to get this dive rolling as Laura controlling every single health pack. Mirror able to push up. So, you have to change off of this, right, if you're New York?
Yeah, you do. We just saw Kellen switch. So that was the issue, right? We saw Kellen out on an island as Sigma while his backline was under a lot of pressure, and OG, I think, just couldn't find the line of sight there, or maybe was even dead at the time. So eventually, the natural order of things takes hold, and we're back to Winston's.
And what do you think about keeping the Sojourn in the mix here? I mean, I think the Sojourn, like, obviously gives, like, big burst potential, a big opportunity for damage, but also, I mean, not the easiest dive target, but definitely one of them.
I think against the Genji comp especially, you probably want to switch to Sombra.
Yeah.
Alpha Blade probably switches as well. There's probably no reason to not play Tracer now.
Yep. Big zoning blade, now go back to Tracer.
You got a kill, right?
I think he got one.
And yet they couldn't convert it instantly enough, just based on where that kill occurred. Here's EMP, so just as Kellen looks to come down, opens up his parasol, floats on in. Flora couldn't finish the job, so that EMP talked about how important Sombra is here, maybe not so much.
Was Alfie even, like, back in the mix at the time?
Possibly. May not have had the blinks, though, because he might probably blinked out of spawn once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision.
Yeah, there was a part of me that was like, oh, the EMP's coming really fast after that hero change, but didn't get a chance to see.
So overclock being able to penetrate, shielding, or penetrate is pretty important here, I think. The Winston bubbles don't feel nearly as safe. Fitz has sick mobility, generally, unless he's like, it's much harder to dive him than Astra. It's a very reasonable replacement for the Sombra if you can go without EMP. Here comes the dive. Fitz nanoed after being hacked. Much easier to keep the Sombra alive than the Ashes we just discussed. Ooh, and there it is. This is what Fitz offers you on a hit scan, Matt.
Yes, the Justice actually decided to get pretty aggressive behind the rally, but not able to find anything as everybody kind of like separates there for New York, and you get that nano onto Fitz, and he's able to do some work with it as Alfie takes Fitz out here. And look at this, you have a bunch of members back in the fight. Maybe you can find like one. You're not really trying to like move the card in off of that, right? But like if you can find another pick and just like force them into a fight with a player down, that's huge.
Nano Winston, I think. Okay, Bio's going to slow this up. He's going to buy enough time actually for the Sojourn to get back. So that pulse bomb kill essentially is rendered null. Here comes Mirror, gets the nano as we predicted. Right now, really just creating a bit of space. There's too much front-loaded damage. The threat of the rally making people impossible to kill. There was a stick there, but Shockwave's not able to get a kill as a result. Kellen slept inside the bubble somehow. Able to pick himself back up and get on with the job. Shockwave working his way in from the periphery now, just taking a couple of bites out of the back line of the Justice, but in goes Mirror again. The zoning is good. Flora able to find some action here now after switching to the Sombra. Creators caught in the middle of a lot of foes. Looking for Donghoon at the very least. Yeah, Fitz is able to help him find that one, but the flow of kills favors the Justice, and they'll have that second checkpoint with 3 minutes to play.
Yeah, and it was a really nice biotic grenade there from Terry onto Kellen, which ends up setting that up. So Kellen playing in the choke, just kind of back and forth. I think they were probably trying to play for the nano potentially from Creative, but he gets hit with a biotic grenade, so denies Creative the healing, so that's why he's a little bit behind here, but then also Kellen falls. So once you lose that tank, then it's just all systems go for the Justice and nothing that really New York can do.
All right, well, Alfie stuck around quite for some time there. You can see Shockwave was getting to critical mass into the HP. Sleep on Mirror here. This is still a scary prospect. Primal Rage by the coastline. And Fitz is going to get a perfect view before he goes into the drink. Kellen and Lisa is able to reciprocate. It's a kill on Donghoon now to put that pressure on the Justice. So we see a commitment from Mirror. Flora and the rest of the code, though, come in, and all the while, the card's been in a daring position. And the Justice able to nudge it forward further.
I believe that was New York's nano there onto Fitz as well.
Yeah, it was.
He gets nanoed, and then he gets just like pummeled off the side. Which, look at the situation. Remember we were talking about, coming into this later part of the map, like having some big ultimates to get the card over the line. Look at what the Justice have to work with. You can nano Mirror to the high ground to like displace players. You can have Donghoon use rally on the card. You have overclock. You're in a great spot.
Lovely
big pulse bomb.
Absolutely massive. The one play with the rally here. Okay, the Justice might just have to regroup now. 90 seconds to work with. Either way, we're probably going to run this back. Unless New York can put something spectacular together. Flora didn't have slide, apparently. That's the key, right? Force that Sojourn slide early, and then you can dive to your heart's content.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get these like 2 kills here for Shockwave. That forces them back a little bit. So now you set up in a spot where you can have the rally to kind of match what the Justice are going to have here on the cart. And then you also have Kellen's Primal Rage to keep this going. So now New York in a spot where they potentially get this hold to get the map.
Carry with the Nano, we're still talking about the mirror Nano plan to the high ground. It's to the low ground instead. So we forced the slide from the Sojourn and look straight away. Yeah, we saw Alfie go for it. Oh, but Fitz turns it around. What a rail. What a kill on Donghun there. Again, Donghun picks off from the Justice's lineup at the start of the fight. Ah, they use a Nano and they're going to get nothing for it. They have one more chance to finish the map.
And now, I mean, it is all like with New York, right? No Nano available for the Justice here. You're going to have all 5 ultimates for New York. This is like their one to win, right? Like, if they don't win here, it's because they fumbled it somehow.
Lincoln overhead is Alpha Yi. The bird is it a plane? No, it's an angry man with a pulse bomb to deliver. He wants to chase the Winston, so you get the high ground now for the Justice. New York have been giving this ground up. The pulse doesn't connect, though. Creative's able to dodge back in his water again. It's going to be Fitz with the overclock. Gets 3. He would have had more if there was the opportunity. But the round ends itself before he has a chance to do further damage. Fitz is 14-8 on the Sojourn for the round. Disgusting showing with those railguns, and he keeps New York in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? A flashy way to end it. You see everybody from the Justice, they'll get up, they'll take their little bit of a breather, but it feels like some signs of life just injected into New York off of this map.
Poor man. Okay, some life in them yet. New York showing us the glimmers of what has put them in this position at 6 and 7 to take a real tilt at the postseason. The Justice are looking refreshed coming into this match, but New York find their feet at the 11th hour. Let's have a look back over this map here, because we get a lot of comp switching, Matt.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. So the Justice come out like playing Ramatra-based compositions at the start versus the Sigma. Eventually, it just kind of like moves into Winston-based compositions, whether it's with the Sojourn or the Sombra. But you really saw New York do a nice job playing the Sojourn-based version of this composition. Fitz, obviously, the huge part is he's able to come up and pick up some kills, but also he's not as easy of a dive target, like you mentioned. The Sojourn able to kind of like slide, get out of harm's way, and then also do damage through that Winston bubble.
I enjoy that we had that conversation about when you sort of switch off the Sojourn when we move to dive or not, and it's a nice little bit of expression that, yeah, so nice. Oh man, this is fun. Esperanza, gonna be our 4th map in this series, and if you love good Overwatch, you hope it's a New York map. We want all 5 for your maximum Overwatch today. Stick around for our 4th map in this series as New York look to continue their attempt at a reverse sweep. The New York Excelsior throw it all down on Circuit Royal and are able to pivot into a map win. And I tell you what, wasn't easy, but Fitz on that Sojourn. Little tweaks as these two teams tried to counter each other in compositions. We ended up reverting to the mean in terms of our Winston dive comps, but that Sojourn, little difference maker from Fitz. Yeah, big part of what carries them over the line.
But can you play it again, though, right? I don't think so. So we'll see kind of like what happens as we move to Esperanza. But you know, obviously making good use of those charge shot kills, right? 15 of them, 14 final blows, 4 kills during the overclock. We pretty much caught them all at the end. Really strong performance from Fitz.
Seen Fitz on a couple different heroes this series long. Obviously the Sombra is what we often see him on. This is the very end of the round. Just going for it now. Again, guy's nano, so you know, body shots are good enough a lot of the time.
Yeah,
still impressive to see.
Pretty good. Right, you know, even with the body shots, right, just nano and the fact that they're always like 100% charged, still really really strong. Is Psycho comes in here for Shockwave. Interesting. So we've seen Psycho play a lot of the Tracer, right? Maybe they're gonna kind of keep him on Tracer here all the time, and there's the option for Fitz to play the Sojourn or the Sombra.
I've got to say, Shockwave was, you know, obviously we see him come in, which is not a super regular occurrence, obviously showing us some of the hit scan. The Tracer also was pretty darn good. New York have a deep bench at that DPS position between Fitz, Shockwave and Psycho. Really nice little rotation between all of them. On the side of the Justice, well, it's really just Mira and Ben Best, mostly Mira operating here. So, Esperanza, let's talk about it. We expect probably to see some dive Mira, right? Teams are definitely...
Yeah.
I mean, what we've seen Orisa attempted on this map, Junker Queen at times, Ramatra. But generally speaking, it's the dive comps that tend to win out.
Yeah, and it's like, do you play? Yeah, I think you kind of have to play dive here, right? If New York wins this one, I think they have, like, obviously with what's like happened recently with like some of the reverse sweeps, like they have a ton of momentum going into that 5th game, right? Like we just did this.
They shine the Chad signal up into the sky, and Ben Best turns up in his whip.
Yeah,
the wrecking ball.
Ben Best ball, game 5 there on Oasis.
None can stand before that jawline. Keep that in mind, as obviously potential of that 5th map does loom here, pending the result of this push map. How do we feel about these two teams if we get matched dive comps?
You're saying in terms of like Sombra, right?
Right, because we expect Fitz to be on Sombra if Psycho is sort of getting rotated in.
It's odd. Like I'd probably say New York, but like the Justice have looked pretty good today. Where I think for me it comes down to the Tracer duel. Actually, it probably comes down to Psycho versus Alfie. Alfie's been really strong today, so Psycho can kind of like step up, which is difficult because he's like just coming back into the game. If he can step up and kind of match Alfie, I think New York can definitely win it.
Donghun has been the loose thread in the sweater that's been pulled on a couple times in these fights. Again, you're brick, so that tends to happen if Tracer and Sombra comes to call, but Hero and Donghun keeping each other alive. It's going to be important. The best teams in the league have this rock-solid backline that basically make each other unkillable. So mirrored comps here. No surprises in terms of these setups. Maybe Fitz is ranging pretty far, potentially looking for a translocator to start.
Yeah, and it looks like Mirror with Laura were working on the opposite side. Yeah, it's hack on the turret, but yep, not going to be able to take him out.
Well, Sombra is doing much the same thing at the moment. Kellen, oh, that's a little bit of a scary spot to be in. But he actually has to, he kind of like jumps laterally close to his Ana and out of line of sight. A lot of harassment from Floor already on that bottom of your screen, looking for Kellen always. Oh, alley-oop that one. Is there follow-up for Kellen? Either way, his odds of staying there and finding success are kind of low. I think Mira sets a pretty good line of scrimmage here for the Justice and Teru. That bio, ooh, that bio was good.
Yeah, it looked like Fitz was going to try and like get out of the way with a translocator, but the nade comes through. Oh, that's asleep on a creative.
Wow,
have him
what a
the right as well.
I mean, he basically just set up, I think, 2 of those kills sort of back-to-back. Teru, obviously one of the players credited for one of the very few, like, you know, full team-white Dragon Blades we've ever seen in the Overwatch. It was on a Junkertown map quite a while back. shows up on the Kiriko, really impressive Kiriko player, and a fantastic Ana player. So one of those players moving from DPS to support that's found a great deal of success and is able to still have this great degree of skill expression now on support.
And this is going to have the Justice taking control of the high ground here. So New York's in like a really interesting spot. Like they obviously have to contest that push bot underneath, but they also have to try and dislodge some of these supports from the high ground.
Justice made decent progress here off the back of these 2 kills that heavily set up by the back line of the Justice. Kellermo drops in, gets a nano boost. Not a whole lot you can do about that, but that's something that the Excelsior just had to commit to get back to parity potentially here. So if you're the Justice, maybe you don't worry about spending too much here. Mira wouldn't have got his timeline time anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're really interested in spending anything there, so they'll hold on to come back in this next fight here because they'll still have to lead the Justice. They'll have everything at their disposal.
Flora is on that left-hand side of your screen, just slipping by. AlphaGee and Psycho will be trading blows here. Psycho wants to deny AlphaGee easy access through this choke. And the question here is, where is Kellen? So manual hack on the on the Arden Teru back, so he was scared of dying while he had that nano up. But in the meantime, here comes Fitz, drops on in. Gonga and AlphaGee disappear.
Yeah, you see already, the Psycho Fitz combination just causing a little bit of issues here. Psycho follows up, gets one, and then Fitz obviously grabs another. So the Justice came into that fight with all 5 ultimates, not an opportunity to use any of them.
Yeah, and that's tough for them. Now they're holding these ultimates way too long. Like, New York have a chance to build up their own again. Look at Creative at 46%. Teru's been holding that nano the whole time. Here's an EMP. Fitz out of the picture now. Teru deploys the nano boost. Finally, it's going to be a rally from OG to keep him in the back line alive. But Kellen's sleeping right now. Huge advantage for the Justice in this fight. Kellen wakes up but gets hacked instantly. Mira primals, as does Kellen. They'll back away from the fires. Watch the Justice spend big, not even to win the team fight. They just push up.
Yeah, I mean, well, they needed to, right? You were in like this desperate territory where you absolutely needed a fight win because New York was starting to like run away with it, and also you just can't hold on to these ultimates forever, right? You'd have been up near your 2nd round of them at this point. So now we're back, dude. The push game we casted like earlier was really odd, and this one seems like it's gonna have like a really odd flow to it as well. It's like both teams kind of stuck at this like 40-meter-ish like line for a period of time potentially.
Creative's bioed. Oh man, what a bio. Dude, Teru's having an outsized impact on this game so far. When you have a fight when your ultimates aren't available, a huge amount is determined by the backline, right? Can you get a sleep? Can you hit a bio? And then follow up on it. You don't need ultimates doing a fight there. We have a checkpoint coming up for the Justice, and a lot of that can be attributed to Teru.
Yeah, that's huge. It looks like Fitz is trying to wrap around. He got pressured back here now as well. So huge play by Teru. The biotic grenade up on that high ground. And now for the Justice, like if AlphaGee can get a huge pulse bomb on a support here, then you cycle in the EMP for the next fight, and you can complete this.
Pulse bomb curves that one a little too much. Yeah, that went down the stairs. They're in a safe spot here. Preemptive bio on the brig. Nano on Kellen. Wow, Neil really committing to this, but no bubble here, so it's an easy sleep lineup. But he'll be woken up as Mira lands. It doesn't matter though. Kellen is waylaid. Enough time for AlphaGee to sneak in there and rip Psycho apart.
And also wild that like Teru doesn't feel the need to actually even use their own nano in that one, which is something that they're gonna have now as Mira jumps in. He gets hit with a big EMP.
Fitz has no translocator, I think. Or at least he had to throw one haphazardly midway through the fight. He got out, but that was an EMP from Fitz. It doesn't find anything. Maybe it just relieves the pressure for a time, but the Justice are ready to come back in basically straight away. Mira wants to play around the safety of his bubble if he can. He doesn't want a wayward sleep to catch him. Primal Rage from Kellen, but how do you follow up on the disruption from this Winston? It's unclear how the New York Excelsior plan to play off this, as Mira's going to have to primal in a second.
Yeah, but I mean, Mira looks like Creative was getting really low. That rally helped him out so much as they're just pushing New York back constantly. The payload is continuing to move, and I talked about that Tracer battle. AlphaGee's definitely winning it now.
That's huge from Mira. He forced OG and Creative out of that key sight line. That means that New York had no chance of contesting on that long stretch without their supports able to spot Kellen's position. So you see Kellen dive back as a result. New York at least can return serve here with a Nano Winston.
Yes, I mean, what, you're going to nano the Winston, but it's going to walk right into an EMP? Is that kind of your play here? I mean, the Justice just have so much control over this game now with how far they've gotten the bot.
Alfie denying Psycho the chance to sneak some progress back. Flora looks like it's going to be a proactive EMP now. Yep, sees the slide come out from the Soda, and that's the starter's pistol going off. Still, Fitz out of the picture now for New York. Trying to hang around, not give too much away here, but they realize they are in dire straits with that Sojourn.
I mean, they're in a world of trouble. I mean, the Sojourn does not seem to be paying off here as much as it did on the previous map. As you know, you're just kind of like looking for picks at this point, I think, with it, right? Like, you're trying to stop the bleeding.
Oh, creative.
They have the nano
to sleep. Okay. Mira says, okay, well, I get nanoed, you get nanoed, and we'll just reset this thing.
Yeah, we'll just back up.
I think the map lends itself less to, you know, Fitz getting value from Sojourn than, you know, Circle Royale. I think for obvious reasons at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think the switching off the Sombra, though, is like a concession by New York, saying we can't mirror this?
I mean, I don't know if it's like a concession. Like, I mean, I guess you would call it that, right? I mean, it just feels like maybe they thought that they had so much success in the last map, especially it was like against some stuff like this, that they could just run it again. But I think like you were kind of alluding to, I mean, Circuit's just such a vastly different map than this one.
Your sidelines just can't be nearly as good. Like one Winston bubble ruins your entire sideline at times. Alfie has a pulse here. I think he's waiting for this churn to settle a little bit more. Sees the Winston dive. Into the front line, maybe? Okay, we're back to parity in terms of what position, but oh, good, we're headed back the other way real quick here. Fitz, though, cleans up Alfie with a quick headshot, but Mira found his way to creative, and there's a primal rage from Kellen. Maybe gets Donghun here, but Teru's just pocketing him. Juggling Donghun up into the air makes it easy for Teru to keep his other support alive.
Yeah, and Mirror actually gets Fitz with his primal, so although the bot makes it back to mid-map, makes no progress after that. So now New York going to be on the defensive foot again, and it's, man, push is so punishing when you get the bot like as far as the Justice have gotten it, because like New York, they'll work so hard to get it back to mid-map, and then the next thing there, like you have to almost like push like double the distance, right? To get it even back remotely close to like make this a game. It's really unforgiving, especially now a minute to go.
Manual hack on Fitz here with the Bionade too.
But they know that's his dash out for now, and then that was also just a railgun shot forced out, right?
Here's that EMP. Fitz just blown to smithereens. Easy target there. The moment he uses that slide out of order, EMP comes in, clobbers the Sojourn. It's not paying off here for New York, but looks like they're fully committed to this plan. Fortunately, that may be to their detriment now, as we have 38 seconds left, and the Justice have a huge lead.
And the Justice, like, you just, even if you don't use some of these ultimates here, right, just pushing the bot to where this point is going to force New York to throw everything at this fight. And then think about the distance they would need to make up. It's massive. So the Nano mirror here, is this just like, did they just try and force the Nano and some other abilities out? It's kind of what it looked like, but New York holds on to everything. Yeah.
10 seconds left though. You have to stretch these abilities a long way. Rally shield back from Donghun will waylay Kellen. That Nano expiring in a few seconds. There's going to be Donghun going with the rally. The Justice actually want to force back on this one now. They have a pulse bomb to work with. Psycho connects his own though. It's Donghun down. Supplier of the rallies out of the picture here. Fitz can slide away from that pulse bomb pretty comfortably. The Justice happy to trade some ultimates to force them out of New York. You have to spend almost all of them to stay in the game. It's overtime.
Yeah, I'm surprised these players in the Justice like just aren't dying and like resetting as a group. Yeah, I mean now you had Teru die really late. You had Mirror now die late. Is maybe they'll still hold this front spawn for a period of time, but still, I mean, Flora's going to have this EMP. This could be massive, especially with that bot's going to stop here on this first checkpoint.
And they played off the EMP really well. You want to watch Fitz very closely in this next fight. Flora is, and Fitz knows it too, Flora is looking for that slide. Then he's going to slam the door shut.
The Justice also know that the bot is going to stop here for a period of time, right? So it's going to stop and people are going to be playing off of it as Mirror trying to put some damage down onto Fitz on the high ground, but doesn't forces that dash out like you mentioned.
It means that Teru might be able to build that Nano though just in time. Okay, Flora, change of tact here. They found OG Creative, blocked from healing him, and there goes the backline of that New York Excelsior, up like a puff of smoke. And it's punch in, punch out on its 3-1. Golf clap for Mirror as the Justice course correct back into a win.
I mean, that is a huge win in terms of the standings there for the Washington Justice. New York, who everybody thought was on a roll, just gonna kind of like maybe even run through the Justice here today, but the Justice bounce back. This puts them like tied in the standings, I think, with New York, depending on like you know, map count and whatnot. But this is just a huge win for the Justice, and they looked really strong.
In a sense, I feel like this is what the Justice roster was designed to do, right? Create a place for Flora to shine, whether it's on Sombra or other picks here. Let Teru just, you know, be an absolute disaster for his opponents on that Ana pick. Really great play across the series from him. And Alfie always has this consistent level of delivery. It's something that you can rely on. Great play for this Justice. And it wasn't just textbook stuff. We got to see Benbest, we got to see the Wrecking Ball play, the Farah play from Alpha Yi. They managed to, you know, win that Lijiang Tower, you know, map by less than conventional standards. But when they had to play their dive mirror, they solidly beat New York out of it. And that's a red flag, I think, for the Excelsior. They might need to play this dive comp a bit more in the future. And if they can't handle the Justice, then it's not a great look.
Yeah, I mean, what you're going over to the Sojourn, right, to try and like you know, get these like one shots. Like you're not like maybe it was just today, like maybe for whatever reason they just didn't feel like they had their kind of coordination with their Sombra kind of compositions today, because they ended up falling back on the Sojourn. It just did not work there towards the end. It worked on Circuit, but Circuit obviously plays great, I know, into Sojourn's kit. But, you know, there on Esperanza, it was a very difficult. And then the rest of the series, I mean, I thought, you know, Alfie and co looked phenomenal. Yeah,
I mean, Fitz tried a few things, right? Sombra for a time, but we know this New York team, they always like to play the rush style, and they always like to involve some hit scan when they can. It was Ash, it was Sojourn, both of them were exploited. Let's talk player of the match here, Matthew, for Washington Justice. It's going to be Flora. I mean, a triple pulse bomb kill in this day and age. In 5v5, without Zaya, I mean, the Benbest gets credit here, though.
Yep.
Setup is just...
He's so weak as well when he rolls around the corner.
He's 1 HP. Like, they're done in that fight. They're absolutely toast. Like, Donghorn is dead, and Benbest is about to drop in as well. And Alfie is down, so you lose the map there and then if you don't do that. Stunning work.
I think what's really awesome about this duo with Flora and Alfie is just like how versatile both players are, right? It just seems like whatever they need to do, these players can, you know, fit into either slot and do it at a high level. As the Sombra towards the end, it was really making a big difference, unlocking a lot of things for Mirror and Alfie and the rest of the team.
Now, this part of the year, you can obviously have fears as a team like the Excelsior of the Justice that the season's getting away from you. You're running out of opportunities to, you know, be a factor in the postseason. But it's great to see these refinements continuing to be made by this Justice squad. Look, 35 minutes, 1.4 deaths per 10 is fantastic. Obviously for the Sombra, hard to kill at times, but generally great showing by.
This is also a Justice team that coming into the season, like, did anyone really believe they're in like the play-in hunt or the postseason hunt, right? Like, I feel like they've performed pretty well in comparison. I think like New York as well, right? I mean, you look at like preseason where people thought teams were going to be and whatnot, and like the Gladiators, like they're down low, right? London's had a rough start. Nobody was really kind of picking like, you know, the Justice or even New York and a team like the Titans, right, to be kind of like in that, you know, upper middle echelon. And these teams have put it together quite well throughout this season.
And I think the Justice are looking at teams like the Titans and the Shock very closely, because they're the other teams that populate this mid-tier of the ladder that the Justice might still have to step up to be able to overcome, whether it's directly in a match or whether it's in terms of their win-loss record. Now, 3-1, pretty good for the old map differential. Could have been a little better for the Justice, but there's a lot to talk about in these couple matches, and there's still more to come. So stick around for that. We're going to head to the desk, we're going to break down this middle match of the day, and then we'll continue on with more Overwatch here on your Saturday.
나 셋업 돼 있어.
기다려봐. 케이모 탑. 왜.
우리 버틸 준비. 나온다. 방으로. 얘 프라이머 있어. 그냥 돌아.
소전 윈도.
윈. 잘했어.
Wow, real team gap. No, good job. Nice listening.
Let's go Washington. What?
What did they say? I thought you translated. Was that what they said?
Can I come in English?
It was like it was a mix of English and Korean. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you lost in the sauce. Lost in the sauce of excitement.
They had a nice moment of patience. You know, they were calling for the dive, and Mirror had 3 second, and then, you know, when the dive came in, it was clean, both supports down, and at that point, the game's done.
You're dead.
Boom! There you go.
Boom.
And that's how the story goes. However, this is a tremendous victory for the Washington Justice. A huge, ginormous, very girthy indeed. That is the victory they really, really desperately needed. What? This is all normal words you can absolutely use in this context. For New York Excelsior, I feel like some of what we got to see will be raising some questions for their upcoming games, guys.
Mostly, I feel good about Washington after this match. I think Donovan actually did play a great game. I think we maybe we're undervaluing how much it means to them to get him off ping. I mean, Brig ultimately is a hero with a lot of instant reactions. You know, you got to block pulse bombs, boop the Winston. Really relies on that. I think Flora came alive for me in this series. I think that's a key determinant for them. You take those. A little bit lucky, but you take those. All planned, actually. All part of the strategy. I've stuck to Symmetra. If you would boop her into her teammates, that would be great, Denbes. Benbes says, why, of course, sir. I'll make that play. So it's really coordinated.
Look at him go.
Sounded just like him, too.
Yeah, that's my French accent.
Wow.
Back thereof.
No, but you're right. You're right, Jake. I mean, I said going into it that this is a team that is really struggling, and they were really struggling, but they do have the potential with this team. I mean, you got players like LP popping up, but when Flora has a great game, when Mirror is on the same page as the rest of the guys, and Dongan, as you said, arriving into the States was a big boon for this team, and obviously they performed a lot better in this matchup. New York Excelsior as well, really like a great opponent to play, because it's not like a fantastic team. It's not the Houston Outlaws, it's not Ladanta Rain. It's actually a very beatable opponent. So it goes back to the pre-show where I said that, like, hey, these are 4 games that Washington Justice can win, and it's a great accomplishment being able to beat the New York Excelsior today. And they pretty much secured their spot in the play-ins. Nothing is guaranteed, but as you said, this was a huge, monumental win for the Washington Justice that will pay dividends in the race to not be the 11th team and miss out on the playoffs play-ins.
What's the takeaway here for the New York Excelsior? What areas do you think were pretty glaring? Where do they want to put some work in up until the next match?
I just don't want them to overthink this. I mean, this is their last match on this patch. So we'll see it change up. I think it's clear from what they played today that they want to play hit scan. They've got Fitz and Shockwave, 2 very confident hit scan players on the roster. They want to bring these comps out. And so I think they're very much hopeful that the next patch will kind of put things back in their wheelhouse in that way, let them play to their strengths a little bit more. So if I'm New York, it's like, okay, Justice outplayed us, we lost today, but, you know, don't lose faith, and our individual players were still shining. Fitz in particular looked really great, brought it back for them, and so on Circuit Royale to win that map. And so I think, you know, you can still play to those strengths, you can still be confident in that, in a meta that favors it a little bit more with luck. I mean, you don't know where you're going to land.
What's the takeaway for future opponents of the Washington Justice?
I mean, I would take them pretty seriously here. They're playing a match tomorrow, of course, I believe against the Toronto Defiant. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But a win here, you're now at 7th place with a 6-7 record. So that's great.
And they have a good map differential as well.
I mean, well,
if you're looking at the lower half of this standing.
It's a lot better than some other teams.
Some other teams indeed.
Notably Shock though, right? If you're tied on wins with Shock, that's a team you're probably going to be above, being, you know, 3 better.
Yeah.
But Shock obviously has potential to get up on wins if they can beat Titans here.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's going to remain very interesting here in the standings. Of course, Gladiators with their defeat earlier today haven't put themselves in the best of positions. Toronto Defiant still has some games to play, so a lot of those 10th to 7th seeds are just very, very close in terms of win score.
Yeah, and if you're the Gladiators here, your one hope is that Toronto Defiant, who have the same amount of wins as you, lose out and that the Gladiators then beat York Excelsior. That's the most realistic path for the Gladiators.
I feel like this result of this match we just saw with Justice winning really hurts the Gladiators. Actually, Scott mentioned this backstage, that now it is only Toronto who also has 5 wins. And Toronto, yes, they lost to Houston recently, but that doesn't hurt their chances much, right? It's like a loss you expected to take. I think Toronto's a team that I expect to get some more wins before the end of the season. I don't think they're going to go winless, where the Gladiators might be struggling a little bit more for those wins.
Yeah, so again, absolutely gigantic victory here for the Washington Justice. Well deserved as well. They look very, very rejuvenated. Now with Donghyun back in the mix, back in the States, or finally in the States, not back in the States. And he is actually with us for a quick chat. So please, everyone, welcome Donghyun to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, a huge congratulations on the W.
Thank you for... yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Donghyun, I mean, this is like our first time interviewing you, so I just want to, hear your thoughts. This was your first win in the Overwatch League, and also this was the first win with the Washington Justice. So how do you feel?
First of all, I'm really thankful to my teammate and coaches for great work. And when I was in Korea, I was struggling because of 200 pings, but now I feel good.
Yeah. And so Donghyun, I want to ask a little bit more about that, playing off ping and playing, in that same room with your teammates. What is that like for you to actually be with the guys you've been practicing with, to meet them together in person and play together?
I think when I got here yesterday, but I treat them like my brothers. So and they do very nice to me. So I don't think there's many difference, but I get more energy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So obviously we should also say here that it's not like Danny doesn't feel like translating, but Donghyun, it's fantastic, being able to do an interview in English. So I mean, credit to you in that regard. It's really impressive. Now I have a feeling that some of your English comes from playing in European contenders and North American contenders. How come you decided to play in European contenders and North American contenders before Korea?
When I was in Europe, I went there because of my parents' job, and I hard work to make contenders, and then so because of my parents' job, I went to Europe, and then I got back Korea, and I played NA contenders from Europe.
All right.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Where in Europe did you stay?
Belgium.
Oh, love that. Belgium is beautiful. Well, we are so thrilled to have been able to watch you, not just in contenders, but finally also in the Overwatch League. So we hope to see a lot more of you and the Washington Justice. Thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck in your next game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donghyun.
Thank you so much. Love to hear it from the Washington Justice and their now newest addition, Donghyun. Danny's just lazy.
I want to be honest, he does make my job easier.
Take those.
You're not lying. I take these,
No, but it's always cool when players or coaches ask to do
you
the
can tell that
interview
he learned English, and the fact that he has the confidence, or he's stepping up to do the interview in a language that he's not that comfortable with. I give him so much props.
It's awesome.
It's a scary thing because this is like a high pressure environment where you're watching, all these fans are watching, and to be able to he did well. He answered all our questions.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
That was
great. It's so great. You also know stuff doesn't get lost in translation. No shade, obviously.
No. I can't.
I can't.
No, I can't. Yeah.
Sorry, stuff doesn't get lost in translation.
No, I can't make up answers anymore for Donghyun. So it's.
Yeah, for all I know, you may know everything.
You guys have no idea.
No, but it's just it adds that personal touch. It brings out the personality, which some of you just usually we don't get to hear it from the. It's just not the same,
Yeah.
It's the personality which gets lost, not the words themselves, is what I mean. Did I save myself?
No. Move on.
Wow. Friendship with Danny has ended. However, my friendship with the game remains. And one of the reasons, of course, is sick, awesome, amazing in-game items, such as everything available in our tank bundle. And it could be yours as well for just 350 league tokens. You can get your Zarya, your Jungle Queen, and your Diva, and a team weapon charm. Make sure to do that just right now, actually.
You gotta buy this for Danny now, I think.
Buy it for Danny.
Repair the friendship.
Do you get this weapon charm, or can you get another team?
Any team charm.
Any
you
team
pick
charm.
your favorite
Just
team.
represent.
There we go. Just that might be important.
You don't need to get the Gladiators team charm if you don't want to.
There we go.
We're not forcing you all.
Yeah.
Is there an Overwatch League logo weapon charm or no?
Yeah.
Oh, is there? I don't know.
Actually, overall Overwatch League, I'm not sure.
That one?
It's interesting.
I'd love to know that. I'd absolutely. What weapon charm you have on at the moment?
Right now?
What you got?
I don't think.
At the Salt Shaker, what you got?
the I don't even know what it's called, when like you wrap the paper into a bird.
Oh, the origami.
Origami. You wrap the paper into the bird.
You wrap a paper in.
Yeah,
how do you wrap a paper?
Yeah. Origami is cute. What you having,
It's
Jake?
a paper bird, Danny.
Jake, what you got?
I don't use weapon charm. I guess
yeah, that's for noobs.
Okay, well, there we go.